April 20, 1889. A child is born in the small town of Brno am Inn, Austria. His name, Adolf Hitler. No one could have imagined that this boy, the fourth of six children, would have one day plunged the world into chaos and destruction. Hitler's father, Alois, was a strict and short tempered customs officer, while his mother, Clara, was a caring and devoted woman. From a young age, Hitler showed artistic talent, dreaming of becoming a painter, but fate had other plans. In 1907, Hitler moved to Vienna to pursue his passion for art, applying to the Academy of Fine Arts, but rejection awaited him. Twice, his dreams were shattered as the Academy deemed his work unworthy. Heartbroken, with little money and no direction, he wandered the streets, painting postcards to survive. The city, bustling with diverse cultures, was also a hotbed of political discourse, with rising tensions between different ethnic and social groups. Here, in the cold, harsh streets of Vienna, Hitler's mind began to change. He was exposed to nationalist ideologies, anti Semitic rhetoric, and the politics that would later define his rule. He spent hours reading about German history, obsessing over the idea of a unified Germanic empire, free of what he saw as enemies, a notion that would become central to his ideology. 1914. The world was at war. When Germany declared war, Hitler eagerly joined the Bavarian army. As a messenger on the Western Front, he survived gas attacks and battles, earning the Iron Cross for bravery. But despite his loyalty, he never rose above the rank of corporal. The war, however, gave his life new purpose, an undying hatred for those he blamed for Germany's downfall. November 11, 1918. Germany surrenders. The Treaty of Versailles humiliates the nation, demanding heavy reparations. To Hitler, this was a betrayal, a stab in the back by politicians, Jews, and Marxists. This belief would fuel his future ambitions. He saw the political leaders who signed the treaty as traitors and vowed to take revenge for Germany's loss. After the war, Hitler joined a small nationalist party, the German Workers' Party. His fiery speeches and charisma quickly made him the party's leader, renaming it the National Socialist German Workers' Party or the Nazi Party. He focused on propaganda, targeting the struggling German people who sought hope in a time of economic despair. In 1923, inspired by Mussolini's march on Rome, Hitler attempted a coup, the beer hall puts, but it failed. He was arrested and sentenced to prison. Yet, even behind bars, he was not silenced. Here he wrote Mein Kampf, his blueprint for Germany's future, a world dominated by the Aryan race. In his writings, he laid out his vision for expansions, his hatred for Jews, and his obsession with racial purity. Released from prison, Hitler rebuilt the Nazi Party. The Great Depression devastated Germany and people turned to him as their savior. By 1933, he became Chancellor. A year later, after the Reichstag's fire, he consolidated power, declaring himself Führer. With dictatorial power, he eliminated political opponents, banned rival parties, and implemented strict censorship laws. The world watched as Hitler defied the Treaty of Versailles, rebuilt Germany's army, and annexed Austria. But when he invaded Poland in 1939, the world had enough. World War II had begun. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was prepared to wage total war to achieve his mission. From 1939 to 1941, Hitler's forces swept through Europe. France fell, Britain stood alone. But then Hitler made a fatal mistake. He invaded the Soviet Union. The harsh Russian winter and fierce Soviet resistance turned the tide of war. Meanwhile, in concentration camps across Europe, Hitler's vision of racial purity reached its most horrifying stage, the Holocaust. 6 million Jews, along with millions of others, perished in a genocide that scarred history forever. His final solution became one of the darkest moments in human history. By 1945, Hitler's empire was collapsing. The Allies closed in from the west, the Soviets from the east. Berlin burned, and in a secret underground bunker, Hitler realized it was over. His closest advisors deserted him, and even the most loyal generals knew defeat was inevitable. Rather than face capture, Hitler chose death. On April 30, he shot himself. His body was burned, his empire reduced to rubble. The man who had once commanded millions ended his life in silence. Hitler's death marked the end of one of history's darkest chapters. His legacy, a word forever changed, a reminder of the dangers of hatred and absolute power. The story of Adolf Hitler is not just history, it is a lesson, a warning, and one that must never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.